All right, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this live edition of Safe for Trout, the Survivor Pool Show for NFL and college football. I'm your host, Shawn Stewart of 586 Sports on this November 14th, 2024. And this is the first show we are doing after the election, so we don't have to worry about election no more, not about politics or nothing like that. So before we begin, I want to make a couple announcements. So usually I do NFL picks first, but from now on till like the end of the regular season for college football, I'm going to do college football survivor pool picks first and then NFL last. So right now we're in week 12 of the college football regular season. So we only have when week 12 starts, so we only have two more weeks. We only have two more weeks. So 12, 13, and 14. And then after that, we're going to be into bowl games. And then for the NFL, we have 7 more weeks. So right now, we're in November. Then after November, then December. That's when really things get really, really, really serious as teams are getting into playoffs. And we're looking at college football teams that are trying to get into the bowl games as well. And another announcement I want to make. So there are three Splash Sports contests, okay, that I'm going to be hosting. So the first one is going to be a survival pool contest, which is $20. So if you're new to Splash Sports, the link for the registration is in the link box description below. And after you do that, there will be like a referral code that's already in there. And once you register, you will get that credit since that's the referral code and plus it's more than $10, by the way. So since it's more than $10, you get the free $10 as well. So make sure before you register to see the state that you live in that you are able to play Splash Sports, and various states are different. All right. So since I live in Michigan, I can only play 4 games. So the only one I can't play is the pick'em, the player props. As Splash Sports, it is a game platform, not a gambling platform as well. And then also, I'm doing a NFL pick'em and I'm also doing a NFL DFS. Think of it as like fantasy football, but that will be like a Thanksgiving contest. So in that contest, you're gonna pick five players in those 5 tiers. All three of those contests are two max entries as well. So feel free to play around with it and stuff like that. So if you're new to Splash Sports, like I said, there is a link in the box description below, and there's a link to the Survivor Pool contest in my channel as well. And also, you can follow me at 586 Sports S on Instagram, Twitter, aka X, Threads. Oh, excuse me. Have a dry throat. That's what happened. All right. So I'm doing 3 of those contests. All right. So now we can get started. As a matter of fact, let me pull in because last week I didn't do the survivor pick for last week because I had to do something last week because I had to take care of some great business, which I already took care of. So last week I took Indiana and Penn State. So Indiana beat Michigan and Penn State beat Washington. So let me pull up my survival pool for week 12. That begins tomorrow as I give you the 6 games. Let me pull this up, and once it's loaded up, I'm going to share my screen so you can guys see what my survival pool looks like. All right, now we're going to share that. And there we go. Okay, there we go. All right. So there you have it. There is my survival pool, what it looks like. It tells you the win probability, stuff like that, and you can also see the teams that I already picked. So once you pick that team, and if they win, you can't use them again. All right. So there you see. So right now I have actually 2 teams that are big favorites. Okay, and I'm going to discuss about that. So the first one in the survival pool, by the way. So the first one we're going to talk about is it is a noon game. So since I picked these two, I can't pick them again. So the first one, and by the way, you can tune in to Safe for Trap every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on 586 Sports. I do this every Thursday night live, and I also do separate the videos. So just in case if you haven't watched the live show, I split those two, so that way you can watch the videos in an easier way. All right. So now we got that out the way. So let's start off with Texas and Arkansas, as Texas is a favorite by 13.5. So the Longhorns is going for their third consecutive win when they face Arkansas this Saturday, as the game will be played at Razorback Stadium at noon. So the Longhorns are coming off a 49-17 win over Florida as a 23-point favorite, as the Razorbacks are coming off a 63-31 loss to Ole Miss as a 7.5 underdog. Now, Arkansas is 4-2 in 6 games against Texas, the last time they met back in 2021. The Longhorn averages 38.9 points per game. They throw for 301.1 yards and rush for 164.1 yards per game. Quarterback Quinn Edwards completed 70% of his passes for 333 yards and 5 touchdowns in the win over the Gators. Jared Gibson had 16 carries for 100 yards and 1 touchdown, while Jaden Blue had 3 catches for 67 yards. Now, for the Razorbacks, they will try to bounce back from the loss, as I said seconds ago, and put it into their 2-game home losing streak when they play against the Longhorns. As the Razorbacks averages 33 points per game, they throw for 292.3 yards and rush for 190.9 yards per game. And the Razorbacks have struggled defensively as they give up 26.3 points per game. They gave us 63 points last time. So right now, I would say if you don't have Texas, please pick Texas, because Arkansas is 129th against the pass and gave up over 500 passing yards in their last game. So choose the Longhorns. Second one we have is another game I just picked. That is Louisiana Monroe against Auburn. Now, if you have not selected Auburn in your Splash Sports Survival Pool, now it is the time to do so. Now, the Warhawks are only a win away from bowl eligibility and will love nothing more to do against an SEC foe. Now, Auburn this season has not been good for them with only 3 wins. Auburn hasn't lost in this series, but has struggled to cover the spread at times for those that gamble. Though they haven't met since 2017, given once at stake for Auburn over the next few weeks, this is certainly a game that SEC fans should have their eyes on. Now, Louisiana Monroe is heading to Auburn with a 3 straight losing streak. This is not their first game against a SEC opponent, having faced Texas back in September 21st. That game didn't go in their favor, going down 51-3. But considering the drop-off in Texas as compared to Auburn. Now, the offense ranked as one of the worst in the country and will have a tough time cracking Auburn's top 25 defense, as the Warhawks rank 124th in total yards, 49th in rushing, and 131st in passing. Now, Auburn does have the ability to work the ball on the ground and to keep their defense refreshed. Will be matched up in this contest. Now, Keandre Lambert-Smith has 7 touchdowns. He is one of the best in the SEC and has the size, speed, and strength to make life miserable in passing downs for the Warhawks. Also, with an elite defense, and Auburn has to be liking their chances in this one, so I would pick Auburn. Next one we have is UCLA and Washington. That is a Friday night game. You can watch that game on Fox, Big Fox Network. Now, I will recommend you that you do not touch this game, as the Huskies have been bullied by the opposing running game all season long, outside the top 100 in defensive line yards and EPA rush. Washington is 91st in third down conversion percentage allowed. UCLA does have an elite rush defense that just shut down arguably the most effective running back in the country, not named Ashon Jeanty, and Iowa's Caleb Johnson to less than 3 yards per carry. Now, UCLA is 13th in yards per carry allowed and top 5 in explosive rush defense. As this, they got a brutal scheduling spot for Washington, who are making the trip back across the country after that loss against Penn State. Its second cross-country trip in 3 weeks. With one less to prepare, UCLA has a leg up in that regards as well, playing last Friday out of a bye week. So please, if you're watching this, I recommend you not touching that game. Next one we have is New Mexico State and Texas A&M. Where is that? Where's that game? Okay, there it is. I knew it was somewhere. I'm like, where the heck? I picked it a couple of days ago. So this is another team. So if you haven't grabbed Texas A&M, I would do that as well because there are certain survivor pools on Splash where you have to pick 2 teams. Now, New Mexico State fell 41-28 at home to Western Kentucky in their previous contest last Saturday. The Aggies come in off a bye last week as they were hammered 44-20 by South Carolina on the road on November 2nd. So these two have met just once. And the last time they met, Texas A&M beat them 52-10 at home back in October 29, 2016. Now, the Aggies are 132nd in the nation in passing offense with 116.6 yards per game, while they are 35th in rushing offense with 187.8 yards per contest. As for New Mexico State, they stand at 116th in the FBS in scoring offense as they put up an average of 20.6 points per game, while they are 127th in scoring defense by allowing 37 points per game. Aggies is 112th in the nation in passing offense as they average 182.6 yards per game through the air. Texas A&M is 15th in rushing offense as they average 212.9 yards per contest on the ground, and they are 46th in FBS in scoring offense as they average 30.9 points per game, while they are 33rd in the country in scoring defense by allowing 21.2 points a game. So take the Aggies in this situation as they will get their first road game win, also coming off that bye week, giving them 2 weeks to prepare to dismantle New Mexico State on both sides of the ball. So expect to see a lot of the backups in the second half of this game as Texas A&M comes off blazing en route to a blowout win. So do that as well. Next one I have is LSU and Florida. Last time I checked, LSU was favored by 4. Now it's 4.5. So now it's 4.5. Now that game, not only do I have that game as a trap, I'm really not confident in LSU. So the Tigers are entering the game on a 2-game losing streak after that loss to Texas A&M, number 15 Texas A&M, and 10th ranked Alabama. So right now, LSU is 6-3, and his college football playoff hopes are all but lost. Now the Tigers are a 4-point favorite, so now it's 4.5. So Tigers defense allowed 24.9 points, which is 71st, and 367.2 total yards, 69th per game, including 216.4 passing yards. They're 64th, 73rd in rushing yards, 28 sacks. They're 13th, and forced 12 turnovers. They're 66th in that ranking. Now, LSU opponents converted 43.8% of third downs, 97, and score on 81.4% of their visits to the red zone. They are 46-7 by that. Now, the Gators has dropped 3 of his last 4 games as the Gators were outgained 562 and 329 in total yards and committed 3 turnovers in their 32-point loss to Texas. So as of right now, Lagaway has been practicing this week in anticipation to returning to the field versus LSU. So Florida averages 28.1 points and 380 83.3 total yards. They're 64th and 73rd. They are 63rd in passing yards with 232.2, and they are 73rd in rushing yards with 151.1. Now, the Gators has allowed 13 sacks, which is 34th, and committed 15 turnovers. They are 90th by that. The Gators converted 36% of their third downs. They are 90th, and score on 87.5% of their red zone trips. They are 46th in that category. Now, defense gives up 27.6, 89th, and 401.3 total yards, 100th per game, including a 234.2 passing yards. They're 90th. And 167.1 rushing yards. They're 95th. Now, the Gators have generated 20 sacks, 48th, and forced 13 turnovers, 56th. Florida's opponent converted 40% of their third down attempts. They're 70th. And score on 80% of their visits to the red zone. They are 30th. So, recommend you not touching that game. And last but not least, you have Missouri and South Carolina. And South Carolina is a 13.5 favorite, as you can see right there, because I picked Missouri to beat Auburn a couple of weeks ago. So I don't have to worry about Auburn anymore. Now, South Carolina has now won 2 straight games over ranked opponents, and each is convincing fashion after dominating 10th-ranked Texas A&M just a week earlier. That win was the 16th straight for the Gamecocks over Vanderbilt. So Gamecocks are 42nd in the country in scoring and 67th in total offense. They are 79th on the ground and 92nd through the air. In the red zone, South Carolina offense is ranked 80th in the nation. They have struggled with protection, ranked 125th in sacks allowed this season, as the team has made its bones on the defensive end, as the Gamecocks are 10th in the country in scoring defense and 9th in total offense. They are 9th against the run and 28th against the pass. South Carolina, 29th in the red zone defense. They are dominant on the pass rush, 4th in the country in sacks per game. South Carolina are 29th in turnover margin this season and just 99th in penalties per game. So take Missouri, but right now, take South Carolina, because right now Missouri, one of their centers, Connor Thomason, is out for the year, meaning that the Tigers will go with a unproven player at a critical position. Missouri is 1-2 on the road this season, and certainly with their offense. So look for them to get their 7th win of the season and 3rd straight against a ranked opponent. So that is all the college football teams that I picked. All right. So let me hide the screen, and we are going to go to the NFL. Let's see if anybody has some questions. Okay. All right. So we are going to the NFL. So in my college football survivor pool, there's 48 people left. Now, in my NFL, there's 21 people left in the survivor pool. And for those of you who are new to this, I do not pick Thursday night football games, because Thursday night football games are the not so good luck. Let's just put it that way. Okay. All right. All right. We share this back on the screen. Okay. Now we're done with college. Now we're going to go to the NFL. So right now it is 7:20. Okay. All right. So we're ready to go. So the first game we're going to do is, there we go. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Detroit Lions, as the Detroit Lions are a 12. If you have not picked Detroit, this is the right time to do that. Now, the Lions' remaining home games are against the Bills, Bears and Vikings. So this will be like the last time they will be a slam dunk play this season. And there's a reason why they're big favorites, as it is really hard to imagine Detroit losing this game. The Jaguars have had bad luck this season, and now they will have Mac Jones at quarterback. And I don't even see this game being close. Now, last week, the Jaguars defense hold Minnesota offense to 12 points and no touchdowns, but I do not see that happening that the Jacksonville Jaguars defense is going to do. So look for the Lions to beat the brakes out of the Jaguars defense. So take the Detroit Lions. Now there is a big game, and when I say big game, I mean like very, very big. Now, this one I recommend you not touching. That is the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that game is in Pittsburgh. As you're seeing right now, Baltimore is favored by 3. Pittsburgh has won 7. The last 10 games, they are 7-3. They're 7-3. Now, the Ravens are better on both sides of the ball. Mike Tomlin usually found a way to get the job done. Baltimore still have 7 games left when they will be big favorites. So even though they may win, you have better options this week. So don't touch that game. Don't touch that game. Next one we have is the Vikings. Where did that? Okay, here we go. Next one we have is the Minnesota Vikings and the Tennessee Titans, as the Vikings are a 6.5 favorite. Now, the Vikings defense carried Minnesota to a Week 10 victory, despite the offense being held out of the end zone. The Titans have one of the worst offense in the entire NFL, and they will be held to single digit against the Vikings. Now, Will Levis is going up Brian Flores' blitz defense, as he's taken 50 sacks in 15 games over the last 2 seasons. He's going over 200 passing yards just once this season. Excuse me. Just once this season, and was just sacked 7 times last week by the Chargers in his first game in about a month. So take the Minnesota Vikings. Number 4, we have the Las Vegas Raiders and the Miami Dolphins, as the Dolphins are a 6.5 favorite, as you can see. Now, the Dolphins have been inconsistent this season, but after their game against the Rams, which they won, you can pick them this week. Tua has shown that Miami isn't quite dead yet, and they have no choice but to beat the Raiders this week. So the offense is just waiting for their chance to explode, and a vulnerable Raiders defense will be little resistance. Now, the Dolphins has 3 losses recently by 10 combined points around the world wins against the Patriots and Rams. Gardner Minshew will remain the Raiders quarterback, as they actually entered going with recently signed Desmond Riddler, because things are so dire at this position, as the Raiders have given up at least 27 points in 4 of the last 5 games. Take the Minnesota Vikings. Then another game I will recommend you avoiding, that is the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. Now, this one, I already picked the Bears, so I ain't got to worry about that. But I would recommend you not touching that game, as the Chicago Bears, they did fire their offensive coordinator after that abysmal game against the Patriots, which I got wrong last week. So right now, Bears stink right now. I won't even touch them. And this is like one of the historic rivalries, by the way. Now, with their record, Bears are 4-5, so we don't know what type of Bears offense we're going to see. So if they win, they'll be 5-5, and Green Bay will be 6-4. And then you also got to think about Green Bay's situation, as they're trying to get in the NFC, trying to lead the NFC North. But right now, it's Detroit Lions division to claim. Then we have the last but not least, there's another game I would recommend you avoiding. That is the Cincinnati Bengals and the Chargers. That game was flex. I think that was an afternoon. I think that was that was an early afternoon game, and then they moved it to Sunday Night Football because originally that was supposed to be a New York Jets game on Sunday Night Football, but since the Jets suck, what's the point of even watching it? That, yeah, the Jets stink, and more likely they won't make it to the playoffs. Now, desperate Bengal team has shown time and time again they will pull through when they need the most. Chargers defense is overlapped after they shut down the bottom feeders, and they will be in for a shock when Joe Burrow sheds them to pieces on Sunday night. So there you have it. So there you have it. And 4 minutes before 7:30. So at least I did well. All right. So we're gonna stop that screen. Okay, there we go. So that is my survivor picks for college football and the NFL. And before I close this out, I want to say you can follow me on social media on Instagram, X, also known as Twitter, TikTok, and Threads at 586 Sports S. And you can also do the same thing at 586 Sports on Instagram, X, also known as Twitter, TikTok, Threads, also on LinkedIn. You can also follow 586 Sports on LinkedIn. Okay. And if you have not checked the college football playoff video I did yesterday, I would recommend you doing so. I did that yesterday as well. All right. So you guys have a nice and wonderful evening, and I will see you next week. Take care.